All right, welcome in to the Bobby Carpenter Show, and it's Wednesday, and that means it's our guy, Aaron James Hawk, is going to be joining us here, and pretty stoked to have him on. As always, there he is, ready to go, ready to rock, and looking sharp. We've got a little bye week here in the NFL and everything.
Today, you're going to learn.
What type of big – what are we doing over there?
Yeah.
Just one?
No, there's another one. There's another one. Come on, YouTube. I mean, it's on demand. Let's go.
Yeah. They don't teach you that in broadcasting school, Bob.
Exactly. Yeah. When your co-host fires out an app-based hawk screech, and it maybe doesn't fire quite on the right time. Yeah, that we didn't go over that on the broadcast boot camp, if you will, Age.
I missed that one.
Yeah, of course you did. What do we got planned up for this weekend without any NFL, no NFL, no college football?
Yeah, it's going to be weird this week in between. I guess the Pro Bowl games are going on. I think Thursday they start doing, weird dodgeball and whatever things they have going on now to try to replace the actual game. But yeah, obviously a heavy focus on kids sports this weekend. I think we have, and can't wait till the Super Bowl though, man. I think a lot of people are mad, I guess, with the Chiefs-Eagles matchup. People don't want to see the Chiefs win anymore, and they're like bored with another matchup like we had a couple years ago. So I don't know. I'm pretty excited about the game for real. I think it's going to be a good one to watch. I think it's tough to not be impressed with what Patrick Mahomes has been able to do over and over again.
Were you surprised in that one with especially like Philly and Washington and just that score of that game?
Oh yeah. I think first off, Washington's awesome. I love Dan Quinn and what they're doing. Jaden Daniels has had an unbelievable year. See what CJ Stroud did and now Jaden Daniels did as rookies. It almost changes the standard on what we expect out of these rookie quarterbacks. And it's like, how are guys supposed to be able to come in and play like that right away? It freaks me out when you can do that. But I think what's cool about this Eagles game, Saquon's brought the running back position back into good graces, even though Derrick Henry, I know, has been doing it forever. But what Saquon has done this year has been awesome. I think everybody obviously would love to have a guy like him. There's only one, but that dude is fun to watch run the ball. It seems like he's always going to get his yards. He's always going to break a couple too.
I mean, did you ever have anybody, Age, when you were playing, hop over your head like a little kid?
Man, no, I never did. I don't know. What are you supposed to do? I mean,
outside of
anything.
normal night routine where dudes just hopping on dudes and everything.
Yeah,
never in a game.
Never in a game. I guess the only thing you could do is bowl your neck and just shoot your head right up through his Johnson, and that's all you can do, right? That's the only chance. And you're still probably going to break your neck, get concussed, and he's going to bounce off and go run for a touchdown.
Yeah, just checking his oil, if you will. Hey, so things have been happening. Jim Knowles leaves Ohio State. Obviously, we had some stuff where at Ohio State you went from Mark D'Antonio, and then you had Mel Tuck, and Bob does a good Mel Tuck impersonation along with Lou Holtz, but in Snides for a year. And then you had Coach Haycock, and then you go to the league, and I'm sure there was transition there. How did dealing with that as a player, what do you think these guys are going to have to deal with moving forward in this 2025 season after coming off a season where, honestly, statistically, it could have been the greatest Ohio State defense of all time?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously tough to replace a coordinator that has had everything's dialed in so nice and everyone seems to be bought into what you're doing. But, especially defense, defense is almost like a mindset. It's a culture that I think you get inside a program, and it carries on with generations. I know when we got to Ohio State, thinking of the great defenses that came before us and thinking of all the great DBs that have always been there and the D-line, I just can remember so many players and so many team defenses, Silver Bullets. I think that lives on no matter who the coordinator is, no matter who's lined them up, doing whatever it is. And as long as the players keep that style of play, it doesn't matter what you put them in. They're going to be fine.
And that's the thing too, balancing, Age, players versus coach. I mean, they had 8 seniors out there, dudes who played a ton of football. I mean, you can run just about any scheme if you have a really good D-line, good secondary play, and linebackers that can get to the ball. And so, I always say is it the X's and O's or the Jimmies and Joes? I'd rather have Jimmies and Joes, and then we can kind of figure out the X's and O's. But there is something, AJ, to this, the continuity of scheme. It allows those Jimmies and Joes, if you will, to play faster. And so I know that you transitioned some schemes while you were playing, with Bob Sanders early on in your career. I know you were thinking about other transitions. I saw you start smiling there because thinking about some of the stuff you've been looking into lately. All the cosmetic stuff. You got the beautiful teeth now. You got so many great things.
Those teeth are so nice. Like on my screen, you're tiny, but I can still see your pearly whites.
Oh,
there we
It
go.
looks so
Good.
good.
With that nice firm hairline right across the top.
Talk
Solid.
to Dr. Neil Patel for my teeth. Yeah, he's doing great work, Shoiks. He can fix anything.
Age. I always thought you had the prettiest mouth around, so you didn't need to do that to make me
Sure, you got a pretty
to
mouth.
make me love you. Schlegs was on board too. We always loved you. We always loved your mouth. I mean, listen, you're the only guy I know who played without a mouthpiece for the entirety of their career. Don't know how you made it through without getting fined or anything like that. And
there's no fines. They can't fine you for not having a mouthpiece. I'm sorry. I know there's actually a big sponsor of the show, right? But yeah. I don't even like. I tried to sleep with a mouthpiece in because before I got my teeth done. How my mouth said I was grinding my teeth away.
Or a mouthpiece,
an actual mouthpiece, and I despise it. Like I hate it. I don't know how you speak on the field, even when they give you the nice custom fitted molded mouthpiece. Like, no, man, I don't want anything to do.
You've never used Export, but by the way, you're the reason why. Like all AJ's teeth were the same length because of years of just like getting smashed down and chewing gum. Like the thin piece of gum on the back one side of the molars. I don't know if it was getting it done for you, but as I digress there, like looking at changing scheme, like how long did it take you? You went from like Bob Sanders, you're playing that 4-3 match quarters, and then you go to oh gosh, who was after that?
Dom Capers, 3-4, yeah,
Cambridge, Ohio. You go to that, which is a 3-4 more hybrid. Like getting comfortable and being able to play in that. Knowles always said it took 3 years, and so this was the third year, and you saw guys playing fast, physical. They knew what to do. How long does it take, a guy to be able to do that? And that was you in the NFL, not even in college.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it does. It definitely takes time because even if you're in the same scheme, like especially in the NFL, you come in the spring and you install the whole defense, and then you do it again when you come back for camp, and then you're doing like every single week you're doing your game plan where you're going over what's in for that week. So you're always like you're continuing to learn the playbook as you go. But I mean, yeah, it definitely does take some time because, like you said, how do you get guys to be comfortable and confident in their job, and they're not worried about like, hey, what do I do? You know what everyone else around you is doing. That's what takes time. I think that's just that takes reps too, because so much of what you do depends on, like, if you're a linebacker, if this D lineman in front of me is supposed to go, he's lined up in the B gap, he's supposed to get to the A gap. Like, I got to trust that he's going to do that. And sometimes, you got to play off each other and different things happen. I think when you don't know the scheme as well, and you're not exactly sure what everyone in front and behind you is doing, it can take some time to where you start thinking and you give up a couple like explosive plays, things like that happen when you're not exactly sure what to do. But that's the good thing. Like coaches now, though, they understand you might not have 2 or 3 years to get everybody to completely understand this. Like, you got to make it simple and fun and find a way for these guys to play fast because you have the athletes. Like that's what you want. You have what matters. You have what you can't coach, like the dudes that can run and hit.
Yeah, simple and fun. I like how you threw fun in there.
I did.
Because winning is fun. So let's give everybody listening a little preview, because you've had multiple opportunities where you could run it back. So, and this probably goes to you as well, Bob. Win a national championship in 2002. Get a lot of guys back for 2003. What do you have to do? And to AJ, to you win a Super Bowl, and then you want to try to run it back, and that's why you're probably so impressed with what the Chiefs have been able to do, go for a three-peat, be the only team that can do that. What does the guys have to do now, especially having lost all of this senior leadership? Because Sonny's kind of coming back, Caleb's there. You have a bunch of guys that are coming back, but you have a lot of young guys too. What does that off season and that spring ball need to look like so you can be able to have success in the next season, so you can potentially run it back?
I mean, I think it has to be competitive. Like, every position battle is competitive. Every rep that you go ones-on-ones, whatever those ones might be, whatever rep you're taking, like, everything has to be super competitive, I think, because that's the only way to get better. And that's the only way, truly, I think, when your team is playing best, when you're not really comfortable. And sometimes, obviously, winning, people will get comfortable, coaches, players, like, it trickles down. It's really hard to have, like, you mentioned the Chiefs, the consistent success that they have had is just, it's so tough to do because there's so many moving parts when it comes to football. But I think the good thing is that you have a bunch of young guys that are going to want to come in. They're going to want to, let people know that, like, this is my job. Like, I deserve to be here. I deserve to be on this roster. I think that's a good thing about having so much talent on a roster is like, hey, if I take a day off, that I don't want the coach to see what it looks like when I'm not in here, because the guy behind me is some 5-star stud who's going to take my gig, and I'm going to be entering the transfer portal. Like, I think that competition is huge, and it makes any team better.
Is there any worry with the young guys? Like, they're just, not everybody's just hyper motivated and competitive like you, Age. Just wants to win at everything, whether it's tiddlywinks or, serving the best hot dogs at halftime like Chris Spielman used to do back in the day. You can do it all. A lot of these young guys now, the mid-year guys, Age, they showed up. You saw them on the sideline, just like, hey, you come to the game, they give you your jersey, you're swinging towels, you're hanging out, you're getting first in line to get the championship hats. Like, it was a joke, but I heard even one of the guys, like, they're doing the ring sizing afterwards, and one of the dudes just hopped in line at the EQ window, and they're like, what are you doing? He didn't know, in his fairness, but he'd just been following the line, like, hey, we get more stuff, like, let's go, that you're just kind of part of the winning, and then the winning just happens.
Yeah, it is kind of weird, but I think, at least I know, if I put myself in those guys' shoes, I think that would motivate me more. Like, hey, that's what we do here. That's the standard. Like, they win the national championship. If our recruiting class doesn't win a national championship, then that's definitely a failure on our part. So yeah, hopefully it motivates guys, but it's definitely good though to be around like the culture of a team that wins and knows how to win. And we saw that down that playoff stretch. I think that rubs off on everybody, and that trickles through the whole roster. So
rub off.
Hopefully those young guys, it rubs off on them, Bob, and it rubs off on them good.
Yeah, Bob, you're one that we already know, right? AJ, Bob's probably the greatest fluffer and rubber of all time,
no question,
beside the Mason-Dixon line. He's so good at that.
What was Pat's line? Tickle your beanbag or something?
Oh, Coach Sirianni, Ty, as Coach Sirianni, told him to tongue his beanbag.
Tongue his beanbag.
Yeah. He told the critics to do that.
Yeah. Who doesn't like that? I mean, hey, go Eagles, right? So let's talk this. So you're looking at now potentially a new defensive coordinator hire, but I want to look at the landscape of what made Ryan Day successful this season. And I believe a lot of it was the fact that he gives a lot of autonomy to people, meaning go do your job at an elite level, right? Bill Belichick, go do your job. So now you have Chip Kelly, somebody he trusts, right? Run the offense. You had Jim Knowles, run the defense. That way he allows him to be able to do all of the other things. And there's a lot of things that go on now in college football that weren't there a year ago. And he has to deal with that. And that made him very successful. How critical is this hire as a DC for Ryan? Because he's more of an offensive-minded guy. And second, do you feel like they got to go outside the building, or it's better to take a first crack at the ones that are in the building?
As far as the second part of that, as far as what do you look outside or do you hire from within? I'd have to be in there every single day on that staff to know exactly what
you want to be the hire.
No,
yes.
I don't think,
dude.
I don't think I'm qualified for that. I don't think I have the.
We can figure it out though. We just figure it out. Whiteboard.
I'll give it to James. James should be a real candidate, but I don't know. As far as is it a big hire? Yeah, Schlegs. I'd say it's a big time hire, like you said, because of the autonomy he gives his coaches. So he knows this is going to be someone it's got to be someone that's pretty confident in what they're doing too. That they know, hey, I don't want somebody micromanaging me, and I don't need to go to him every 3 seconds and ask him questions.
Yeah, I was going to ask too, because you've probably seen it, in coordinators being able to work within their staff, but also be able to plant the flag and this is how we're going to do it, and everybody's on board. You think that's easier for an older guy or for a younger guy? Or do you think it's just something that's in them and that's what you're looking for as a talent to be good?
I think it's something that's I don't think the age would matter. Maybe an older person that has the resume, it's a little bit easier at first because people instantly give them that respect. But I think it's whoever they are. Someone people that are leaders, people that know, that have a presence about them. I think you need that. I think head coaches need to have a presence about them. I think especially coordinators do as well. And but you're right. There's a lot of different moving parts. There's a lot of things to where we might install something and hey, a couple of the D linemen don't like how you have them running this slant. They feel like they don't like it, but the D line coach can't sit there and say, "Oh, you're right. You guys are completely right." But what? Just come on, try to appease the coach. Let's run it this way. Let's run it this way. That's not going to work. everybody needs to be on board and say, hey, whether you agree or not, we might not agree on everything that we do, but we're going to go 1,000 miles an hour, whatever we do. And we're going to do, coach is always going to have our best interest and what's best for the team at heart. You have to somehow, you can't just say that though. You have to show that and prove it to them. And you got to earn that respect, I think, over time.
So I know I saw you out at Upper Arlington High School. You had the boys, Axe and Ved, just in their singlets, just tearing into other dudes, getting after it, that one-on-one intense wrestling competition. But before that, at noon over at the Shoe, they had the celebration. Did you get a chance to catch any of that age of what was going on with the celebration at the Shoe?
I did, and I saw Coach Day on there with Jimmy Fallon as well.
Nice. That's pretty solid, and he did a great job. You knew he'd do a fantastic job. I'm glad you got a chance. Is any words, anything that you thought was particularly special about that before we let you go?
I tell you, I thought it was cool. First off, how many people showed up. It was pretty chilly out there. I didn't know how many people were going to be there. I saw it was like 45,000 or something. Other than that, no, Bob, is there something I should have caught my attention that I missed? Because I saw a lot of good clips from there.
Yeah, I didn't know if you enjoyed, like any of the captain's speeches or anything. Like, I don't know.
I like Jack had a little joke, coming back again for another year. It's always good to start out with a little joke, get the crowd on your side.
What if Ryan would have said he's going to Penn State too? Would that have been a funny joke?
That would have been a weird react. Can you imagine if he would just try to make a joke or something and hear how people would react?
Yeah, maybe we should talk to Pat. We can get him on Raw, and he can put like the Nittany Lion head on and everything, like kind of Corto-esque. Really lean into it.
I'm sure people would really appreciate that around here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They would. Well, hey, there is worry that he could be getting out of here, but we're going to let you get out of here so you can go get some.
Have a great show, buddy.
Appreciate it, sir. Go have a great show, Age. Fantastic jobs, and thanks for joining us on Wednesday.
All right, see you guys.
There he is, the one, the only, the official AJ Hawk. I want to tell you about our friends over at Export. AJ might be laughing about his teeth looking clean and not being able to wear mouth guards. AJ likes firing that hawk off. But parents, athletes out there, protect what matters most with Export mouth guards. Trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards are scientifically tested to absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your brain, which is critical, and your teeth, so you don't up like AJ. You have all flat teeth. Look at Tiki Barber. He's looking beautiful out there. Export mouth guards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including patented use of carbon fiber. They custom 3D print that bad boy right to your own grill for more protection, better performance, max comfort. And this is what AJ said, clear communication. So it's like, oh, I'm gagging me because you haven't tried Export, AJ. That's why. Don't take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com/Bobby. Save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. Ryan Day. People wonder if he's going to the NFL. He shot those rumors up or down. Find out next on the Bobby Carpenter Show.
Welcome to Big Play, the fastest growing sports media company in America.
I'm gonna keep it straight with you. The reason you should watch our show is because I look good, baby.
Come get some!
Join our millions of fans for live sports talk shows hosted by the top former athletes and sports personalities in the industry.
Ohio, it's my home state.
Obviously, I'm a diehard Cleveland sports fan.
Watch what you want, where you want, when you want. Welcome to Big Play.
Make sure you All right, Circle Valley, welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. And we just had our guy, Age, you're going black hat now, Schlegs? Like you
But
ready to?
Steely Matt, 79 Steely Matt said, hey, Schlegs, where is the cowboy hat? So guess what?
But I always
Put it on.
envisioned you as more of a white hat dude.
It's the winter, Bob.
What
And
does that mean?
I just wear a black hat. Now, maybe as it gets a little warmer, I could put on a gray one, like a silver belly.
But I feel like Schlegs, the black hat is like the bad guy. I've always kind of envisioned you as the
good guy. I'm
yeah.
the good guy.
You're the protagonist in this show, not the antagonist.
That's okay. So you gotta have a dark side to everybody. And plus my wife likes it when I wear black. So
It is slimming.
just keep it sexy.
You cut down your love handles and bring your jawline in a little more.
I don't know. Maybe it makes my jawline thinner by wearing the black hat. I don't know. I mean,
Hey, my boy Hester has one of those little jaw deals. I don't know if you've ever seen them online, the infomercials that you like kind of bite and it like locks in your jaw. It gives you the Tom Brady jawline. So maybe we'll get you that.
I just actually went to, this is something I was going to say on the previous segment with AJ, but I just went to the Ohio Sleep Institute and they did the scanning of my thing because I snore. I don't necessarily have sleep apnea, but it's kind of close.
Your neck is so big it collapsed. That's why.
Well, it's not just that, but it's you guys see me like my jaw like naturally is here. It slides back. It needs to be over here, and it just like. And I like to sleep on my back. That's why I don't have a lot of wrinkles on my face because I'm a back sleeper, and my jaw just goes back. Yeah, that's right. It's a fact, dude. People that sleep on their face, wrinkles. People that sleep on their back, no wrinkles. So it's like the wrinkles I got are from like stress and not eating and just working my face off. But anyways, my jaw will just go back. Oh, side nugget. Listen, my wife showed me this thing. It's from aloe. Aloe is like ALO. I don't know what it is, but it's like this magnesium.
ALOE?
No, there's ALO. It's I don't know. Chicks go in there and buy like sports bras and stuff, right?
Oh, it's a store.
Yeah, it's a store. They got one in Jacksonville, but they had this magnesium spray to like relax you and sleep.
Court is that what she sprays on her pillow? Court's got something like that, I think.
Seth told me you spray 3 pumps on your stomach. I kid you not, though.
You usually just spray on.
Of course, I knew that was coming. Yes, I did. Yes. First episode of Landman. But anyways, listen, I just do that. I've been sleeping like a rock. I mean, like now, granted, it could be that I'm just gassed. Finally, the gas has run out. But I kid you not, man. Go look that up. Go look at ALO magnesium spray, and then sleep on your back if you don't want wrinkles like that. So, but Ohio, I got to go get my retainer, and it's like it moves your jawline up and holds it in place while you're sleeping. I'll give feedback. I got to go pick it up sometime this week.
Okay. Well, you let me know how that ultimately works, Schlegs. And listen, 3 pumps on the stomach, whatever it takes. I know you're the guy for the job, dude. So I really appreciate that. And
not as good as Dick Bender wedding. Not as good as that.
That was a whole nother deal, the Dick Bender wedding. But one of the real fears outside of the 3 pumps on the chest that you were talking about was Ryan Day. And like I was worried that Ryan Day Schlegs could leave Ohio State and go to the NFL, and just dip on out. And I was wondering if anyone was actually going to ask him that question. Just throw it out there. Would he leave at this point, or anything? If we're going to throw that up, Ryan, and because he addressed this and put it up there about, hey, would he be leaving? And this was where was this clip from? Was this from I
don't know. I'm just listening to the group chat. I love you guys.
If we could throw this up here, it's the first one. Throw that up on about his ability. Do we not have access to the doc? What's going on here?
I did. I sent it to Ryan. Ryan at Big Play.
Okay. Well, can we throw that up there then? Because I want to be able to see. He sat down with Chuck and Charles Barkley, that is, and Ernie Johnson, and was talking about this, like I guess on their little show, and it was pretty great. I don't have access. You don't need to edit the doc. You just got to click on the links for Buckeyes. But it was interesting because Ryan came out and answered this question, Schlegs, and he answered it in a way that I think is the most assuring way possible. Because, when people are like, well, I've never really thought about the NFL. It's like, well, if you think about it, then what would change your mind? Or I'm happy where I am. Okay, well, maybe one day you won't be happy where you are. And so Ryan, as soon as we get this up here, we can hear it straight from the horse's mouth. That nice dark beard that he's rocking. It's about as black as your hat, Schlegs. And the ability to kind of throw that up there.
Just read it. Just read it, Bob. Just read it.
No, I don't want to read it because I want to listen to Ryan say it because it's more impactful. It's not like him reading it; it's him actually saying it. So that's the best part. I don't know what's going on. I come onto the show right at the beginning, right at the start time. I had a meeting. I rushed back here to get on.
Look at it right there.
Here we go. Let's listen to Ryan talk.
And it's a great league. But right now, the impact that we can make on young people is to me more impactful in college. And that's just kind of, why I got into this game was to do that. And that's what I want to do. And, there's, Woody Hayes is, the last one to win multiple national championships at Ohio State. And that's something that, I've now kind of set for myself is to be, the next head coach to win multiple national championships at Ohio State. And, there's still a lot more to be done. And I also feel like this position can make a lot of impact throughout the country and throughout the state of Ohio. And I want to continue to do that with my family through different, charities. And I think, every year I've learned more and more what that is.
And at some point in there, he said, I'll stay for as long as they'll have me. And that, I think, Schlegs, is the most impactful thing he could have said. We're a little bit long for a break. We're going to put a pin in that. We'll discuss that more coming up next. I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like... I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer. All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show, Schlegs. We're trying to figure this out. You got grant access, Schlegs, or some of that's on you. But when you hear Ryan say all that, first of all, what are you laughing about?
I love you. Hey, man, I don't know. I just share documents. I mean, the fact on the Google Doc thing, when you go and share and I make somebody an editor, I shouldn't have to grant access because I already gave you access. Okay. That's a Google thing. That's a Google thing. I'm not going to pass the buck. What about Ryan? What really spoke to you on that? Because there's a couple of things that got me.
So there's a couple of things. Number one, pointing this out, Urban won one national title. Truss won one. And Truss played for two more at Ohio State. Urban played, he probably could have won one in 12. They went back in 16. In 15, he probably had the best team that he'd ever had. He had other opportunities to get in there. And when Urban got to Ohio State, like one of the conversations that I was having on my local radio show at the time is not if he would win a title, but how many titles would we deem it to be a success? And so obviously that was huge expectations. That was really big time for Ryan Day to see for Urban to see what he would be able to accomplish. Ryan got here and everybody just kind of assumed he'd be able to win one. And it took him 6 years and he had played for one before, made the CFP 4 times, and finally kicked the door in the 12 team and got it done in a big way. But no other coach outside of Woody Hayes has won multiple national titles. Paul Brown won one, I believe Woody won 5, Truss won 1, Urban won 1, and now you have Ryan Day ultimately winning 1 as well. And him saying he wants to win more and win probably the first guy since Woody or the only other guy outside of Woody to win 2 or more would be tremendous. And then the fact that he's like, I'm going to stay here as long as you'll have me. There's a lot of work to be done in Ohio. And he started talking about him and Nina and being involved in charities. That's when coaches are planted, when they're involved in the community like that and they bring up their families and all of those different things. And that made me, that was like a reassuring feeling and thought to me, knowing that, hey, this guy's going to have opportunities. He's going to have options, but I don't think he's looking to go to the NFL.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything that you just said, Bob. And I also go back and you look at where his kids are now. So you have a high school, couple young daughters, right, moving up. There's something to be said for in the coaching profession of consistency with raising your kids and not bouncing around, moving around, because every situation is different and not every opportunity is going to be what you think it's going to be. AKA, I went to Jacksonville, got fired after a year. We all did, like you just don't know when you take those opportunities. So there's something to be said in that. The biggest thing and the reason why he said is that he enjoys the impact that he has at the college level for that athlete is special. And part of that is because when I went back, right, I was training my kids and my son's high school baseball team, and the impact of that. It's just different before they get to that next level when they're on their own or they're starting their families and the time that they're in the building versus what he alluded to. And I heard you guys, I don't know what I think it was Bo and Bishop and Friends was talking about, during the run of the playoffs, there was no school. So they were all around each other all the time. That's impactful. And I think this year's team impacted Ryan. So he saw through this program, through this type of culture, look at the impact that the players have had on each other, players have had on coaches, coaches have had on their players. And then he also went into his impact that him and his family could have on the great state of Ohio. And that really resonated because a lot of people talk about and did talk about going through some of the trials of this season, losing to Oregon, losing to Michigan, that it's because he's not an Ohio guy. But I'm not an Ohio guy either, Bob. I'm from Texas. But when you have that in your head coach that understands the magnitude of the position that you have at the Ohio State University head football coach and the impact that it can make on the entire state, not just let alone the city, you're an Ohio guy. So I really appreciate that he said that.
Some great comments coming in from the chat, Schlags. Mike said Ryan needs to win more natties than punch a Clemson player. full Woody Hayes, bud. I love it. There was a question.
How similar is Day to Tressel? Are you going to go to that one?
I want you because you actually coached in the weight room and you were around. I've been around Ryan the last 6-7 years. You coached in there, Schlags. I would like to hear your opinion. As to because you coached with Tress too, played for him. How that looked, how Ryan and Tress maybe are similar and then maybe different as well.
I think that Ryan. Some of the best qualities of Tress, Bob, we've said it, is the relationship aspect. It's why you wanted to play for him. And I think that he has those qualities. No greater evidence than just literally having a conversation with your running back that's coming back in Trevion Henderson. And before you bring in somebody else, talking to him about who you are bringing in. Nobody normally does that. Right? It's like we're just going to bring guys in.
That's like an NFL thing. Like you would only do that usually in the NFL. Like college guys, you wouldn't give them that deference.
Right. Because you're automatically – here's the thing. I think he has a really good read on this generation. And we've discussed this. It's a very much why, what, and when, not when, what, why. But they want to they are adults, but they want to be also seen as adults, not just a college kid. And it's different now because they do make more money and all those things. But just being able to have that conversation and lay it out there and those guys to embrace competitive excellence of what AJ talked about, I think is critical. So I think he has a really, really good read on this generation. I also think he has a really good read with a Mark Pantoni on how they want to allocate their talent and where are they willing to pay for that talent. And they're only going to do certain things if it's for the benefit of the culture and the Ohio State University football program. And I like that. And they can really put their foot down. So similarities with Tress, the relationship, the weight room aspect. Tress wasn't big in the weight room. Ryan is. I think Tress was probably so much focused on the cultural aspect. I think Ryan has a good mesh of the two. And I think part of that is because of Mick. And again, unequivocally saying, Mick, you're the chief operating officer. You go. You know what they need. But we speak the same language. And there is no gray from the weight room coaching to the position coaching. Like that's where you have, oh man, they're so hard in the weight room. Then you got position coaches talking to the weight room. Hey man, like we got to tone it down. Like you don't tell me what to freaking tone down. How do you know the freaking weight room or what we're trying to do? But like, that's the art of coaching. And I think he gives complete autonomy to that. That's why I like his management skills. Whereas Tress was very like when he let go, he was the spoke. Old school, I had 56 spoke roasters on my Camaro when I was in high school. And I did have soldiers on the back with 212 punches, and it was teal and it was amazing. But he was the spoke, the hub with all the spokes because he was so good at the relationship, he was also very micro in the management style. And I think that Ryan is different. He's very much macro, a lot more autonomy, but you got to go do your job. And when I have to impede my, opinions and what I want done, I'm going to go do that. And I think we saw that this year. So as far as like a difference in the two, neither one is better or the other. I think they do that subtly different.
All right. There's one team in the college.
Did that help?
Football. That is good. That was very good. Very good, Schleiks. Now we're going to get to some valuations. And one college football program is the highest valuation in all of the college sports biz. We'll get that coming up next in headlines. I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage beer. Beer flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like. I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer flavored beer.
Welcome to Big Play, the fastest growing sports media company in America.
I'm gonna keep it straight with you. The reason you should watch our show is because I look good, baby.
Come get some!
Join our millions of fans for live sports talk shows hosted by the top former athletes and sports personalities in the industry.
Ohio, it's my home state.
Obviously, I'm a diehard Cleveland sports fan.
Watch what you want, where you want, when you want. Welcome to Big Play.
Make sure you tune in.
I love you, Cleveland.
All right, Schleiks, now it's time for our headlines.
Oh, shit. I did not have a stroker in high school, Mike. Anyways,
no one knows for sure. But let's take a look at the valuation of the Ohio State Buckeyes. When you take a look at it, Schleiks ranks as most valuable college athletic programs, $1.32 billion. Falling behind University of Texas at Austin, 1.28. Texas A&M, 1.26. University of Michigan, 1.06 billion. And Bama coming in at $978 million. Now, Schleiks, I mean, they did that. It was a pretty scientific, like in financial method, of trying to figure out like off cash flows and what that would look like. Now, part of the problem is, and we'll get into this a little bit as the week progresses, Ohio State, I believe, are like a $30 million, $27 million, $38 million deficit last year. Well, but you got to pay it somehow, Schleiks. So you can't just keep charging it to winning. You win a lot, but you'll be in a lot of debt. So that's no surprise. Everybody knows that the Ohio State brings in more money than anyone else. They just have a lot of mouths to feed. And with 36 varsity sports, it can be tough at times. But also this, Schleiks, when Ryan threw this out here, I thought he did a great job talking about the best damn team is in Columbus, Ohio. And you get a chance for sound bites when you win games. And this, I believe, was from the national championship celebration. And he said, you better know that the best damn team in the land resides right here in Columbus. The national championship trophy is back where it belongs in the great state of Ohio. And for a guy like Schleiks, like you said, who, you know what? Let's listen to it. Let's listen to him say it.
Man, that never sounded any better than today. And no matter where you are over the next year across the globe, When you hear someone say, OH, you say. And you better know that the best damn team in the land resides right here in Columbus, and the national championship trophy is back where it belongs in the great state of Ohio.
Beautiful. Great job. Give it to me, Schlegs.
No, I mean, you could have said it any better. And that's what it means, right? Like, he's proud to be in Ohio. He's proud to represent the Ohio State University. I think that they selectively go and find young athletes that understand what it is to be a Buckeye, regardless of where you come from, because it doesn't mean you don't recruit the state, but like when you bring those guys in, Lathan Ransom is from Arizona, guys, and he has everything that you want to be a Buckeye. Cody Simon from Jersey. He has everything that you think of when you think of Ohio State. So it doesn't necessarily matter where you're from, but it's about where you do it. And they're doing it right here in the great state of Ohio, and somebody that we can all look up to.
So we got Tailgate Talk coming up next, brought to you by Real Truck. We'll get to your comments and questions. And then there's also one other guy who you mentioned, Schlegs, maybe not be from the state of Ohio. He was getting pulled in the NIL portal, but he said he's where he needs to be. We got that coming up next.
Building a home for the people who are worth it. Stepping out, throwing in a line, and dropping the tailgate for a picnic. And finding far-off campsites with the people you're closest to. Upgrade your truck, Jeep, or Bronco with over 1 million parts and accessories. And bring your truck to life. Real Truck.
All right, Schlegs, and here we go. It's our guy, Carnell Tate. He knows where he needs to be. There's a lot of suitors out there, Schlegs, trying to lure him in the transfer portal. And as we get to our before we get to that, this is Tailgate Talk brought to you by our friends at Real Truck. Go to realtruck.com, outfit your truck, Jeep, Bronco, whatever it may be. Throw a winch on it. Throw a new bumper on there. Get a bed cover for your truck. Get a new top for your Jeep. They've got all the fixings. They've got coolers. They've got seat covers. I keep telling you, inside, outside, it's all there, and it's all ready to go. So go to realtruck.com and to bring your truck to life like Schlegs and I did. Also, you spend $100, you're getting free shipping, and it's easy to spend it there because, my goodness, everything is so great. You're going to buy a ton of stuff. All right. Carnell Tate. When I read this, Schlegs, all I could think about is Top Gun Maverick. And as he's sitting there looking out over the ocean, Schlegs, sitting there with his, what does he drive? F-18 and
what? F-250, F-150.
He's got the F-18. That's what he's flying, Schlegs. And as we throw this up here with him, talking about Jeremiah Smith, talking about Carnell Tate. He said, I'm right where I belong. They, meaning Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Ibuka, get all the public attention. But it takes 3 receivers to win the game. The ball might not come my way, but I'm still doing my job on the field, whether it's getting the ball or just blocking. And when you have a guy like him who is certifiable, if he was on any team with a decent quarterback, Schlegs, it's 80, 1,200, and 10 TDs. And that's what he is. He's a first-round draft pick NFL receiver, and he was the 3rd option this year. And for him to come back, they took care of him NIL, but there was a lot of teams said, hey, we're going to give you more opportunity. They're going to give him more opportunity, but he's still going to be right there with JJ. But I think he views that as a positive.
Yeah, he views that as a positive. I actually got something else for you guys. Let me see if I can put this on there.
Nuggets.
I'll put it in the chat deal. Boom. Maybe that will work. But here's the thing. We talked about this. If you go into the portal and you go somewhere to make more money, nobody's guaranteeing that you're going to have that contract in the second year. And then now you're just a vagabond, hired gun for, hey, I'm going to go here, new strength coach, new offensive coordinator, new position coach, new team, new place to live, all of those things. Boom. They don't give me that money. Well, we already got you here. Like, why do we got to pay you? You're only as valuable as your second best option. Oh, now I'm going to go to this place, right? As opposed to being here. And then I like what Chris Henry Jr. put up. And they were like talking about him, and people were talking about Michigan trying to flip this guy. And he literally just threw up a picture of Brian Hartline with a cigar, like looking like this. you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's the why, guys. Like, it goes back to what we were talking about with Trussell and Ryan Day. It's the relationships that they have with their position coach and what it means to be a Buckeye that's worth more than a couple $100,000. You don't have to say that same thing has to hold true to a coordinator that goes somewhere else at Penn State to a rival for, a couple $100,000 more over the time of a contract, a lot of money. But for these guys, it matters. And I think the self-introspection and identity of Carnell Tate himself as a player, this is really like kind of eye-opening for his age to be able to say that, this is, I know what it takes to have a great team. The natty was really important. I still have to go do my job and block on the perimeter and run routes that open up a Mecca and run routes that open up, JJ or a Brandon Ennis or a G. Scott that had a really good season. I got to go do those things. It takes all 11. I'm a big piece of that 11. And so just because I don't have the reception doesn't mean I'm not necessarily doing my job at an elite level. That's a lot of maturity for a very young player that I feel is going to be very, very good down the road at Ohio State and in the NFL.
Absolutely. And so I got a question coming in from the chat. Shag's had a couple comments. Be sure to leave your comments, questions, whatever it is, like, subscribe, follow. We appreciate all of it. From what was Daito? We'll go with Daito. Says Schlegs, Josh Perry said on the Juice that 3.1 is insane for a defensive coordinator. If Hartline is due for a contract and other places are knocking at the door, would you just give him a blank check? I see that. Like, I don't know about a blank check, but that's the problem. Like, when you spend all that money on your DC, you can't necessarily allocate it to other positions. A Matt Guerrero who's coaching really well, James Laurinaitis, a Brian Hartline, who all he does is bring J.J. Smith. You got Chris Henry Jr. who's saying, hey, I want to go there. Why? Because Emeka Egbuka they're saying he's the best slot receiver in the draft. He's the best slot receiver since Jackson Smith and Jigba. So, like, when you're comparing to the guy that you were basically replacing and you're the next best dude in the NFL, people love that, man. Yeah. They absolutely love it. And as much as, like, those guys make a lot of money in NIL, but you make even more money as a first-round draft pick being developed, playing 10 years in the league and making $100 million. That's where you get it. And so, yeah, while NIL is important, you don't necessarily have to win on NIL. You need to be close. And then, listen, we'll give you this carrot ultimately at the end of the rainbow, which is going to be tremendous. So, Buckeyes, Hartline's got it figured out. Great question coming in there. We'll keep those coming here, Schlegs. We're long for a break. Coming up, we're going to wrap up the show with Schlegs' parting thoughts. All right, Schlegs, your favorite time of the day. The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, floor is mine. Thank you, Bob. I put it in there in the chat about Sonny Styles. I'm going to read it while Ryan throws it up there. This is a dream season here in Columbus. My teammates, coaches, training staff accomplished exactly what we said we would. It's an honor to play for the Ohio State. I'm not done yet. I'm here to stay. Let's run it back. I actually popped in there yesterday just to say what's up to the boys. And he was in there already training, and we'll get more in the weeds of what that looks like. But this is the why. He's the guy that knew he needed to develop. Like, this is why I think NIL is good. You can bridge that gap. I don't just have to go. He only played linebacker for one season. He knows that he needs one more year to be ready, but it's not just one more year to be physically ready as a linebacker, because let's face it, man, Sonny Styles has all the tools that you want to be a great linebacker in the NFL. But there's also, we forget the maturity aspect of now what it means to be a leader of the team, right? Because that was the Cody. You got to go out there, do your job. And again, he learned 3 positions at the beginning of the season. So he's not only going to progress, and James is going to have him ready to take that next step, to take his linebacker play to another level, but it'll also be that those leadership qualities in the offseason, learning his voice of what that sounds like to be a leader and hold others accountable. And like, hey, you didn't go +2 on the line. Get your ass back to the next one. Like, those are the things that you have to practice. Leadership takes practice. That's like we talk about toughness is trained, effort is trained, competitive excellence is trained, leadership qualities needs to be trained. That's what he's going to get by running it back this year. Excited for his growth and development.
Well, that's it for today's show. Stay locked in. Tomorrow, 12:30, we'll be coming back at you, talking a little bit about Caleb Downs and what he thinks of the coaches and Schleg's favorite hole, the glory hole, him and Jerry Jones. See you tomorrow at 12:30.